Well, it is just about that time when after the success of The Mask, you want to feel anticipation for a possible follow-up. But as soon as Son of the Mask comes up, you start to realize, no thank you. We don't need a Mask sequel anyway. We know it'll stink. And then that sequel turns out so stupid, then you'd be better off watching the first movie! Which is why I think it's the perfect time to talk about this movie. For starters, we know everybody remembers Jim Carrey's The Mask, but that's only because of Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz and the storyline. The trademark sense of humor, and Stanley from the original movie being the only character to use the titular mask to turn into a cartoon. Since the point of the original Mask is to have only one character turn into a cartoon, not other people who wear the mask. Not other people who wear the mask, okay? Well, the guys who made the movie were most certainly like, let's make a sequel to The Mask where other characters who wear the mask turn into cartoon characters. Well, that was a terrible idea, New Line Cinema. Oh. It's Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate all over again! I mean, they just retconned it in the same veins as the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild and even Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. That's not what you're supposed to be doing in a sequel or a spin-off! Again, I know everybody likes The Mask, but it's because of its trademark sense of humor. Even the involvement of Jim Carrey, and even the whole point of the first movie being that Stanley would be the only character to wear the titular mask. You see people? See, the point of the original Mask is to have only Stanley wear the original mask, nobody else. You know what else it would be that the worst problem is, huh? Another major issue with the movie is that Jamie Kennedy, of all people, was supposed to fill in Jim Carrey's shoes, but he ruined it by playing Tim Avery. That guy is one of the worst movie protagonists next to Dawn of Justice's versions of Batman and Superman, Phil and Connie from the Happy Time Murders, Milo from Mars Needs Moms, the other Stanley from A Troll in Central Park, the Quaid from Strange World, Dex from Food Fight, and Davy Stone from 8 Crazy Nights. He even comes off as a bumbling doofus, and not the good kind, unlike Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. And all of the other characters are just forgettable. The CGI did not age well for 2005 standards. The performances other than Jamie Kennedy are terrible too. None of the jokes in the sequel have any of the charm of the original Mask. And the fact that Jim Carrey was never even involved in this movie, what a dumb, sick joke. Whoever was responsible for this movie, have they completely lost their mind or something? They must have gone completely insane when they even thought of this. Yeah, I've never seen a quote-unquote sequel that is so insufferable, so disgraceful, and so unfunny, it is just that embarrassing. What makes this even more jarring is when you realize that the same person who also directed Cats and Dogs directed this movie. Look, if you guys at New Line knew that you couldn't call in Jim Carrey to be in this movie, then why did you decide to make it in the first place? Do you even realize how hard it was to make a good sequel for once? Even better sequels? The editing is dreadful, there's too much product placement, which only E.T., Happy Gilmore, and Route Breaks the Internet can do right. The writing is really mediocre, the cinematography gets really annoying, and for a so-called family movie, there's too much adult content. How dare you! I mean, ignoring the lore of one of those movies that started a popular franchise? The Mask franchise is dead because of you! Actually, the soundtrack is alright. Loki, despite being evil, is the only tolerable character, and there are some clever callbacks to the first movie, and some moments that are kind of funny. But those are the only positive aspects I'll ever give this movie. Overall, without the involvement of Jim Carrey, Son of the Mask is a pointless sequel to one of the most iconic movies of all time. So for anyone who likes Jim Carrey and cares about how comedy works, do not waste your time on this garbage you call a movie! I'm gonna have to talk to Isabel and the others about this.